Hello, fabulous superstar Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of August 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, is a very special time. This is a blue moon month, meaning that we will have two full moons. To start the month, there'll be one and then another one before we end the month. And when we have a month with blue moon energy, it does suggest that emotionally it may feel like there are some ups and downs, but ultimately the larger theme is being honest with ourselves about what we really feel, what our emotional truth might be. And so the first full moon right out of the gate as we begin the month, well, that is taking place at the foundation of your chart, having to do with your past, your living situation, your family of origin, your parents in particular. It has to do with the things that you do in your own time and space, and home-based businesses can be covered here as well. This full moon is speaking in a conversation of tension with Jupiter in your opposite sign, but also speaking with a quick moving alignment with Mars, your ancient ruling planet. And so these energies together do suggest that this could be a time when a lot of emotion rises very quickly. There might be an element of adrenaline there. Given where this full moon is, it might feel like a family member pushes your buttons in some way, or it just could be that there's a strong desire for change that is very much on the surface, that the clarity of that desire arises very quickly. But then there's that Jupiter square, asking you to make a plan, asking you to consider where it is that you actually want to be, what it is that needs to change. And part of that journey might be deeply personal. This can be a time when you may be looking at taking certain chances, perhaps related to a home-based business, or maybe trying to buy, sell, move, or attract a new roommate. But you have to be mindful of over-optimism, or maybe missing some details that could end up being really important. The fact that under the light of this full moon, just days in to the month, Mercury will go into shadow on the 23rd, officially go retrograde. And what that suggests is, as much as I'd like to say, yes, change everything because you're going to feel like it, also know that there are other factors to take into consideration. And especially if it is a friend who is giving advice or guiding some of those decisions, you might come to see that advice differently, especially once Mercury goes retrograde later on in the month. And so it's always up to you to decide what's right for you to do in light of your unique circumstances. But it's always a good idea to pace yourself and be yourself, as I like to say. There could be a very strong desire to go home, to be home, whatever that means for you. If it is that you have a home-based business, there could be some very optimistic plans that you're looking at making now. But because of that energy of overconfidence that is there because of Jupiter, again, pacing yourself might be a good bet. Now, in the middle of the month, we get a new moon. That new moon, in contrast to the very private part of your sky of the full moon we begin the month with, that new moon is at the top of your sky. It's the most public part of your chart. It has to do with a higher, more loving vision for your life. In practical ways, it speaks to career, promotions, interviews, auditions, and it can also speak to life purpose as well. It is here that we sometimes see a desire for accolades or rewards show up for us. And so this energy is rather remarkable with this new moon. On the one hand, it is not far in the sky from a retrograde Venus. And that suggests that heart desire with the changes or new opportunities that could be coming now. They all feel very much on the surface. You're asking yourself if you love this opportunity, if your heart is in the opportunity. It could also be personally that you are wanting to take initiative to move in certain directions. However, we've also got an alignment with Uranus, and it is quite precise. And what that suggests is there is a massive wildcard factor here. And so If new opportunities are coming in, they may seem like they come out of nowhere. If it is that you are in an interview or audition type of situation, it may feel like what you least expected to be asked, you might get asked. What you thought the role actually was, you might be surprised with how different the reality actually is. This could be a time when there is a new boss or a current boss, but the behavior overall feels rather erratic in some way. So that may be something to pay attention to. If it is that it's you that has new things you desire to implement where it comes to career, where it comes to life purpose, well, there might be a part of you that is feeling downright antsy or wanting to begin. And so it's always up to you to decide what's right for you to do in light of your unique circumstance. But stay open to that wild card factor. It might take you on a little bit of a journey with factors you hadn't expected coming into play. And this new moon on the 16th is just days before Mercury goes retrograde on the 23rd as well. And so again, as much as there's initiating energy here, there's also energy that's saying, okay, pretty soon you're going to have to reflect. You're going to have to go inward in some way. We end the month on a blue moon. That is our second full moon. And that full moon takes place in fellow water sign Pisces. You'll be able to tap into that energy with that much more ease at this time. However, it's an interesting energy in and of itself. That full moon is hand in hand with Saturn. So there's a big maturity, responsibility element to what is playing out. And we've also got a quick moving alignment with Mars once again. Mars, your ancient ruling planet. And so there's some thread that ties the full moon at the beginning of the month and the full moon at the end of the month in some way. However, the part of the sky this full moon is in has to do with what you want in your heart of hearts in every area of life. It has to do with living a life of more joy and happiness. It is about creative fulfillment, taking chances, taking risks, gambling, and it also is the children in your life covered here. That energy of Saturn says, be calculated in any risks you might take. That is when you position yourself to possibly make some gains at this time. But simply gambling for fun's sake, nothing wrong with that. But it's very important at this time to not bet the farm. The biggest winnings that come are going to be those that are earned, are going to be those rooted in past experience and successes that you've already demonstrated and proven. If it is that you are hoping to align with activities that are joyous or maybe just be more clear on what happiness is to you, your answers are a lot more grown, a lot more mature, and that may take you a little bit by surprise, but there might be a moment here where you come to realize that what used to be really fun for you just isn't anymore. With this energy having to do with the children in your life, this can be one of those moments where you're looking at your role as steward in these children's lives with a greater sense of responsibility and presence as well. Now, because Saturn is about the long term and there's an overall serious note here, this can be setting yourself up for some success related to creative projects and creative fulfillment. This can be a time when powerful, established figures become part of your pathway forward. However, it is so much rooted in what you've already demonstrated, what you've already done that can reap the biggest rewards now. Now, where it comes to matters of love, we continue to have that retrograde Venus. I know I've been talking to you about it all this time over the last few months. But what we also have related to love specifically, I want to focus on that full moon at the end of the month. Because that full moon in a heart-oriented part of the sky for you is also going to speak to romance, flirtation, what you want in love, and what it is you need to feel loved. For those of you open to meeting someone new, what a remarkable time this can be. In the context of new connections, they can happen very spontaneously. Because we've got Saturn there, it might be somebody who is a significant age difference, might be someone where there's a significant difference in status or economic status in some way, success status in some way. It might be a situation where you are feeling as if you're coming off of some very valuable lessons and now coming to understand more fully what it is you're going for. And so there's this sense of thinking long term, thinking big picture. It's a full moon, so a lot of emotion may come to the surface, but that can also be part of cleansing the past as you open yourself to new love. For those of you just starting to date someone, boy, is this energy a big reality check moment. At this point, we are also going to have Venus standing still in the sky, preparing to go direct at the very beginning of next month. I'll be here to talk about that every step of the way. But these elements together tell me that by the time we get to that full moon, you are really looking at the reality of this person, of your feelings, of what you're wanting. And this can be an important turning point moment. It's all in or really not. That full moon energy says that either it is you're being honest about your feelings or you're being honest about what this person is showing you about who they are. Regardless, though, it can't help but change things. Either it solidifies or you say to yourself, okay, that was fun, but now it's time to go in a different direction. And for those of you in an established bond, what a remarkable time this can be. Now, this is about being honest with yourself about what you need to feel loved, whether or not you have that here, and how is it you're going to express that so that that feels understood. Is your partner giving you the message that they don't feel loved in some way? Well, you'll be able to look at this with a greater sense of balance and a greater sense of insight. Ultimately, Saturn says, prove it, show it, manifest it. And so it's very much about what is demonstrated. It's not about the intention. It is about what has been established through actions, through what's already been done. Where it is that sense of being loved has been there, well, this can be a bit of a course correction. But where it is perhaps you or your partner hasn't felt that in a while, this is going to be a time of honesty where you're able to look at it from a place of greater understanding. It's part of deciding the best steps forward from here. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a valuable and meaningful astrological moment. I am going to say the full moon that we start the month with, it is private, yes, but it is also deeply personal in some ways as well. It is an energy that is going to invite you to look at what it is to be at home with you, what it is to be at peace with you, and whether or not your requests or your desires that you feel are going to magnify that sense of equilibrium within, are they reasonable or not? And if they're not, is that objective or subjective? Are you being told that they're not, or is it something that you authentically feel within? All of this may rise now, but ultimately, as we start the month, it is about understanding what home is for you differently in some way, ambitiously as well, as part of knowing that you can, by starting to feel at home within yourself, feel that much more at home as you go out there and make that home for yourself. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership rate at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive horoscopes, class passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.